there is a truth that has echoed through thousands of years. Man does not become great by heritage or luck, but by his thoughts. And yet, a troubling question arises. If thought truly is the key that unlocks every door, why do so many spend their lives in confusion, failure, and sorrow? Could it be that they never dreamed of a better future? That they lacked ambition? Or is there something deeper, something hidden beyond the simple slogan, "Think big to succeed"? History shows us those who rose from nothing to build empires. But for every one of them, there are millions who whispered dreams each night, yet lived in perpetual stagnation. This contradiction unsettles us. Under the same principle, why do some flourish while others fade? Is the saying, "You are what you think," just a hollow phrase? Or does it conceal a meaning few dare to uncover? Picture a seed of corn and a seed of rice sown into the same soil. Both are planted, but not all seeds sprout alike. Some are dry, rotten from within, unable to grow. Human thought is the same. Not every thought has the power to take root in reality. What matters is the quality of the thought itself, the energy it generates, and the actions it leads to. Yet people fall into a familiar trap. They believe that imagining alone is enough. They crave success, but rarely pause to ask, "What am I giving?" We live in a world of expectations, of demanding, of waiting to receive, but rarely of offering. And if your hands hold nothing, if your stance is only to wait, then no matter how lofty your dreams, they are nothing but rotten seeds on barren earth. It is here that a seemingly simple story, one far more piercing than any abstract philosophy, will reveal the core of the matter. A story that begins in an unexpected place. A crowded train station, where the rush of people and the sound of trains form the heartbeat of a city. There, an anonymous beggar happened upon a merchant, and with a single question, his fate was forever changed. In the chaos of the station, where travelers were too hurried to notice faces beside them, there lived a man who carried no luggage, had no destination, awaited no train. He only carried an outstretched hand, the hand of a beggar, surviving on the pity of strangers. Every day his existence blended into the noise, invisible to most, until one morning his eyes caught sight of a man unlike the rest. A sharp suit, polished shoes, and an aura of confidence. He seemed to carry with him an entirely different world. The beggar's heart stirred. Surely this man is rich. If anyone could spare more than a coin, it would be him. With that fragile hope, the beggar stepped forward, hand extended. But instead of reaching for his wallet, the merchant stopped and looked him straight in the eye. The words he spoke were gentle, yet struck like thunder. "Do you always take from others? Have you ever given to anyone?" The beggar froze. In his whole life no one had asked him this. Stammering, he muttered, "Sir, I am only a beggar. I survive by asking. I have nothing to give." The man's lips curved into a faint smile, not mocking, not pitying. He replied slowly, as if carving the truth into stone. "If you believe you have nothing to give, then you have no right to receive. I am a businessman. I believe in exchange. If you can offer me something, I will give you something in return. But if your hands are empty, I cannot give you anything." And with that, he boarded his train and disappeared into the distance. The beggar remained rooted to the spot, hands still extended, empty as ever. Yet what burned in his mind was not the absence of money, but the weight of those words. Not harsh, not cruel, just unflinching truth. All day long, the sentence echoed. If you have nothing to give, you have no right to receive. For the first time, he saw his own life reflected like a mirror. His poverty was not just of coin, but of belief. He believed he had nothing, and so he was nothing. That night, as the trains rattled past, he lay awake, haunted not by hunger, but by the possibility that maybe, just maybe, his whole life had been shaped by this invisible truth. For 2 days, he begged from no one, not out of pride, but because his mind was trapped in a single question: what do I have to give? The more he searched, the more he fell into despair. Truly, what did he possess? No money, no talent, nothing society would call valuable. If so, what could he offer? Nights became endless mirrors of doubt, yet the words of the merchant no longer felt like insult. They became a riddle demanding an answer. If all you do is receive, are you even truly alive? Or just a hollow vessel draining the light of others? On the third day, sitting near the tracks, his eyes drifted toward a patch of wildflowers blooming in the dust. Yellow, violet, radiant, unbothered by noise or dirt. He stared, and for the first time, his mind stirred with possibility. What if I gave these flowers in return? If someone gave me a coin, I could give them a flower. Then I wouldn't just be taking anymore, I'd be offering too. The thought set his heart racing, not with fear, but with excitement. That evening he plucked a handful of blossoms, holding them like treasures, and returned to his spot. When a passerby dropped a coin into his hand, he smiled and offered a flower in return. The traveler paused, surprised, then accepted with a smile of their own. The next day, more, and the next, even more. Each exchange brought not only coins, but joy. He noticed a pattern. When he had flowers, people gave generously. When the flowers were gone, the coins dwindled. The truth was undeniable. People did not give out of pity alone. They wanted the dignity of exchange, however small. From the lens of Buddhist teaching, this was no small shift. True giving, dana, is not measured in gold or possessions, but in intention. There are 3 forms: material giving, the giving of wisdom, and the giving of fearlessness, removing another's suffering with kindness. The beggar had stumbled into the third. By offering a simple flower and a smile, he gave something real, something human, and in that moment he understood. Poverty is not the absence of money. Poverty is the belief that you have nothing to give. The station soon witnessed an invisible transformation. The man was still there, in the same place. But now he sat not with a begging hand, but with a bundle of flowers. Those who gave coins received blossoms in return. No one pitied him anymore. Instead, people smiled as they walked away, carrying a piece of beauty. Strangely, more and more came to him. Not because of his need, but because of the joy in the exchange. He watched closely. When he had flowers, coins flowed. When he ran out, the flow stopped. For the first time, he realized people valued the dignity of trade. He was no longer a beggar. He had become a trader of beauty. One day, he saw the familiar figure of the merchant again. His heart leapt. He hurried forward, flowers in hand. "Sir, today I have something to give." "If you give me money, I will give you flowers." The merchant smiled, handed him cash, and took the blossoms. "Today you are no longer a beggar," he said. "You are a merchant." Those words echoed like a bell through the man's soul. It was not about flowers, not about money. It was about identity. He no longer saw himself as helpless, but as someone who created value. Philosophically, this was rebirth. A human being is not defined by circumstance, but by how they perceive themselves. The moment he believed he had something to give, his hands transformed from symbols of need into symbols of exchange. That night, under the whisper of the passing trains, he laughed softly to himself. Was I always a merchant, just blind to it? All along, I had only to see myself differently. The laughter was tinged with tears, but it was the laughter of liberation. 6 months later, the station remained as bustling as ever. But in one train carriage, fate arranged a meeting. The merchant spotted a well-dressed man with a confident air. Something about his eyes felt familiar. "Excuse me," he asked, "have we met before?" The man smiled knowingly. "Yes, twice. The first time I begged you for money and you refused. The second time, I gave you flowers in exchange for your coin. And today, I meet you again, but I am no longer a beggar." The merchant's eyes widened. Memories collided. The frail figure at the platform, the flowers exchanged. "You were that beggar?" "Yes," the man laughed, "but not anymore. I now run a flower business. What began with wildflowers has grown into a shop. I'm traveling today to expand further." The merchant was silent. Then his gaze softened with admiration. "Incredible. What changed you?" The flower seller replied, "Your words. That day you told me, if I have nothing to give, I have no right to receive. From then on I realized, no one is truly poor. Poverty lies only in believing you have nothing to give. The moment I saw that I could offer, even a flower, I stopped being a beggar. I became a trader. And I discovered, the greatest change is not in wealth, but in how you see yourself." They shook hands, not as benefactor and beggar, but as equals. The train's whistle pierced the air, a triumphant anthem to the truth revealed. One man stepped off, another continued his journey. But both carried the same light. A life can change the instant one chooses to see differently. To the ordinary eye, this was just a story of rags to riches. But under the Buddhist lens, it was a revelation of universal law. Life itself is sustained by giving and receiving. Rivers flow only because rain feeds them. Forests thrive because they return oxygen for the light they absorb. Humanity is no different. To receive, one must first give. Buddha spoke of 3 forms of giving: material, wisdom, and fearlessness. The beggar had none of the first, but he discovered the last, offering a flower, a smile, a small moment of joy. That was enough to shift his life. We often confuse poverty with empty pockets, but the truest poverty is a closed heart. The belief that one has nothing to share. A wealthy miser is poorer in spirit than a pauper who offers kindness. For, to give even a word of comfort, a spark of knowledge, a moment of courage, is to be rich. And in society, this law still governs. A business thrives only if it gives real value to customers. An artist lasts only if they give meaning to their audience. Even love and friendship decay when they become one-sided. The question remains, am I giving or only expecting? The ex-beggar's flowers were never the true miracle. The miracle was that he stopped believing he was empty. That simple shift unlocked the logic of karma. When the mind opens, the world opens. If the story ended at a beggar becoming a flower merchant, it would be just a pleasant anecdote. But its essence lies deeper. The true transformation happened, not outside, but within. The moment he believed he had something to give, his destiny turned. From a single change in thought, a new life was born. Imagine, had he dismissed the merchant's words, he would still be trapped in the same endless cycle of asking and despair. But a single spark of thought, a new way of seeing himself, rewrote his path entirely. This is no miracle. It is the plain truth. The world reflects not our vague wishes, but the truths we believe about ourselves. From Lao Tzu to Pascal, from the Buddha to modern thinkers, the chorus is the same. Thought shapes reality. Believe you are small, and you will remain small. See the seed of greatness within, and you will fight to make it grow. No one outside of you defines who you are. You alone do. So ask yourself, how do I think of me? Do I see weakness, or do I see capacity? Do I approach life as a taker or as a sower? The answers are not abstract. They carve the very road you walk. The beggar's tale is a mirror. His empty hands once convinced him he was worthless. Yet the moment his vision shifted, even wildflowers became treasure, the start of an empire. This proves it is not circumstance that defines man, but the way man defines his circumstance. And still, the merchant's words echo like a timeless bell. You are no longer a beggar. You are a merchant. That declaration was never meant for one man alone. It is for us all. Within each of us lies a seed of creation, waiting to bloom. Our lives do not begin with what we own or the chances we're given. They begin with what we believe. When thought changes, destiny changes. When we stop seeing ourselves as beggars, we discover the power to give. And from that moment, a new journey begins. One where we no longer stand at the margins of life, but stride at its very center.